Alright guys, what's up? I'm going to be trying a new style of video, more of like a relaxed video. Depending on how this video performs, we'll see if I keep doing these in the future. But hopefully you guys enjoy this style of, content I'm going to be doing. We're going to be talking about a lot of NFL news. We're going to talk about John Harbaugh to the Giants, how Sean McDermott got fired, Kevin Stefanski to the Falcons, Robert Saleh to the Titans, and then we're going to preview the AFC NFC Championship games. And starting this off with John Harbaugh to the Giants. So I like this hire as an overall hire because I think John Harbaugh could definitely be a guy that turns that Giants franchise around. Um, the Giants franchise really hasn't been good in a while. Like, let's be honest here. We're talking about a franchise that hasn't really done nothing for the plus end of 10 years. We're talking about one of the worst performing NFL teams over the last decade. So, what does that mean for New York bringing in a guy like John Harbaugh, who's, he's a very good leader, I would say, is probably one of his best qualities because he's not a play caller. So, that's not really his thing. So, he's not going to like impact him that way. But I think John Harbaugh is a really good leader of men. So I think he definitely was the right guy for New York. If you really think about it, on paper, the Giants are kind of like a washed down version of the Ravens. They got a guy that can run at quarterback. They've got a power running back. They've got a good wide receiver one. I mean, I don't want to, say that Zay Flowers is amazing, but like you get the point. And they have a defense that, while could use work, has potential to be, a really good one. So I think the John Harbaugh experiment in New York could go really good. They have a 5-year deal signed. I think something like this could be a cornerstone for a franchise like the Giants, who's been one of the worst franchises in the league. And I think, will they get a Super Bowl out of this? It's hard saying because it really could go one way or the other with this experiment. But I think no matter what ends up happening, the Giants' floor is going to get raised no matter what. I feel like, we're talking about a team that wins 3, 4, 5 games a year. I think with John Harbaugh coming in, we're going to see immediate turnover. I think we're going to see instant turnaround also. I think that overall the Giants as a group are going to get better. I really like this hire, to be honest. I think that this is maybe one of the best hires so far. I mean, not maybe. I think it definitely is the best hire so far. So, for the Giants to get the best coach in this coaching carousel so far, I mean, what a pickup for them, man. I think they're going to do great things with Harbaugh, and I can't wait to see what that, holds. It's going to be amazing to watch once they get Malik back and Cam healthy, obviously. We're going to see a full year Jackson Dart. It's going to be fun to watch for sure. Next, here's a bit of a shocker. Sean McDermott got fired. After the Bills lost to the Broncos in overtime, I guess the Bills decided it was time to part ways. I don't really understand this firing. I mean, I know they came up short every year for the past, 6, 7 years. So I guess I get it from that standpoint. But in my opinion, in my humbled opinion, I'm even a Patriots fan saying this. Sean McDermott wasn't the problem in Buffalo. I think drafting wise, they just didn't do too good of a job down the board in terms of finding talent. Everybody wants to bring up like the meme of Keon Coleman and the Cam Newton thing, but like that's a real thing. He was supposed to be their like number one guy, their true number one, and he hasn't really been that. So overall, the receiver talent has not been amazing for Josh really over the course of, I don't want to say whole career, because obviously when they had Stephon Diggs, like, it was amazing. So it wasn't his whole career, but since Diggs has left, there's been a significant drop off, and you can see it. So I don't think it was ever the coaching, and it just sucks that a guy like Sean McDermott has to be the one that takes the blame for it over the GM. And, I mean, obviously they're not going to get rid of Josh Allen, so it's unfortunate to see because he's definitely, like, one of the best coaches in the NFL. I think whoever gets them is going to get, like, probably third or second best coach in this carousel. I think it's John Harbaugh. I would go Mike McDaniel. I still really like Mike McDaniel. Although it didn't really work in Miami, I think that 2023 season for the Dolphins showed what Mike McDaniel can definitely do. And then I think it would go Sean McDermott at 3. Unless you want to throw in like Mike Tomlin, but I don't think he's even coming back to coaching this year. So I think just those 3 guys really are like the true separators for best coaches that don't have a job right now. So it was interesting, but I can't wait to see where he goes. There's a lot of great options for him. You got like Cleveland, Baltimore. That would be interesting. I kind of think that Sean McDermott's philosophies and presence in a way kind of fits what Baltimore wants. So that would be an amazing fit. I think the Dolphins could use somebody like him right now. I think, did I already mention the Steelers? Like there is a lot of great options if you're Sean McDermott. So I wouldn't necessarily hang your head if you're him. You know, you can easily bounce back from this for sure. Now, on the flip side, from a coach getting fired, a coach got hired, being Kevin Stefanski to the Falcons. Now, Baker Mayfield had some words about this. He had some words on Twitter. Um, so I'll put it up on the screen now. I don't exactly remember what he says, but he basically called him out, saying, you know, he never got a call or text when Cleveland moved on from Baker, and he's excited to see him twice a year, so that'll be interesting. Um, I don't necessarily know how I feel about this because, me personally, I don't really like Kevin Stefanski. He got rid of Baker, traded for Watson. I don't really know if he wanted Watson, but either way, got rid of Baker, and then was like actively trying to sabotage Shador Sanders as well. So I don't necessarily like Kevin Stefanski too much, but like my opinion on that like doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, he is a good coach. He's a 2-time coach of the year for a reason. He brought Cleveland to the playoffs not once but twice. So like the coaching side of him, he's a proven guy in the league. So I think with when you got a strong young core of Drake London, Michael Penix, Bijan Robinson, and Kyle Pitts, there's really not much you could do wrong. You just have to put it all together. So we'll see if he'll be able to do that in Atlanta. I know Baker's going to have a huge chip on his shoulder now, seeing him twice a year. So that'll be fun. That'll be a fun, nice little rivalry for years to come. I think that giving Baker any kind of chip on his shoulder is pretty bad, as people have found out in years past. So we'll see how that ends up going. Overall, though, like in terms of just true coaching ability, Kevin is probably one of the best guys available. So, I mean, a lot of these coaches that are going and getting fired and getting hired right now are all really great coaches. I don't think I've seen one move yet that I've been like, oh, like I don't know if this makes a lot of sense for the team. So, props to all these teams doing their extensive research and, you know, trying to get the guy. We'll see if any of this pays out. Um, I think the Falcons have maybe one of the best like job openings in the league. Well, until Stefanski got hired. So I think that Stefanski's walking into a really good opportunity in terms of he's not going in there into a lackluster roster. Like there's definitely talent there in Atlanta. It's just like I said, is he going to be able to put it together, and is he going to be able to make it work? Because we haven't really seen the Kyle Pitts connection, from Michael Penix like we've been wanting to see. He's been getting better every year, which has been great, but like he hasn't truly separated himself yet, which I think is kind of unfortunate because Kyle Pitts is an athletic freak of nature. So I think you got to make him a focal point. And what Kevin did in Cleveland with Harold Fannin and David Njoku, I, I feel like Kyle Pitts could have a breakout year. So we'll see. Next on the hiring discussion, we got Robert Saleh to the Titans. Now, this is interesting because you have Cam Ward, right? You don't really have much on the offensive line. You don't really have much in the receiving room. The defense is maybe the highlight of the team, so I understand hiring a defensive guy. But in my humble opinion, if I had a rookie quarterback like that going into year 2, I would want an offensive guy. I would have wanted a guy like Mike McDaniel, if I'm being honest. If I was Tennessee, I think Mike McDaniel would have fit their skill set a lot better and their personnel a lot better in terms of what Mike likes to do, you know. And I think that hiring Salah obviously isn't bad at all. Like when he was with New York, they had consistent top five defenses. So it's not that I hate the hiring. I just think that there were guys maybe more fit for the job. Um, I think that going in a defensive coach route doesn't usually end up working when you got that young of a quarterback. I think if you're gonna get a defensive coach in this league, I think you need a quarterback that's already established or somebody that's already a veteran in terms of experience. So we'll see how that plays out. I just think Mike McDaniel really would have fit better. I really wanted Mike McDaniel to go to Tennessee, or I wanted him to go to Detroit as the OC. That would have been nice. But I just think that Mike McDaniel was too creative of a play caller and too good of a like scheme coach to miss out on. I really like Mike McDaniel. I wouldn't even be mad wherever he goes. Whoever gets him is getting probably the best coach in the carousel, if not one of them. You know, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Defensive coaches usually don't last too long unless you're like Mike McDonald. Obviously, what he's done in Seattle has been amazing. Speaking of Seattle, Seahawks Rams NFC Championship game. Um, Now, so my from my playoff predictions video, I was way wrong. I had Bears and the Texans in the Super Bowl. Way off. Both of them are eliminated. Um, so my predictions were already out the window. But this is gonna be an amazing game. Seahawks just ran through the 49ers 41-6, and that defense probably showed why they were ending up being the best defense and not the Houston Texans. I just thought the Texans defense, like on paper, stat wise, was better than Seattle's, but I was wrong. Apparently, obviously, stat watchers, stat isn't everything. Like, just because it says something doesn't mean it. Seattle's defense is definitely the real deal. So it'll be interesting to see how they go against, LA, what they try to do, what their game plan is. I think you got to try to run, or I think you got to try to slow down the running game if you're Seahawks. You don't want LA to start working off play action because I think that's when Matthew Stafford starts to get really warm and really in the groove. So if I was Seahawks, I would run a lot of loaded boxes, a lot of 5-6 man fronts, stuff like that. Send stunts. I would send nickel blitzes, anything to get into the box and in Stafford's face and to shut down the running game. And if you're LA, I would work a lot in the shotgun because they're going to be coming after you. I would go quick game underneath. You don't want them corners to gain confidence on you, especially early, because that's what happened against San Fran. And I mean, Seattle just never looked back once they grabbed the lead. So there's things that you got to do and incorporate into your offense when you're going against a defense like this, because the second they get momentum on you or the second they smell blood in the water, as the saying goes, it's gonna be a tough day. So that'll probably be a fun game. That's probably the best game of the two championship games, just because we'll talk about it here in a second. But Pats Broncos, there's kind of an asterisk there. As much as it sucks to say, there is an asterisk on that game for New England because Broncos quarterback Bo Nix broke his ankle. If you guys didn't know, so he's done. It'll be Jarrett Stidham, who actually, funny enough, is a former Patriot. So I think no matter what happens in this game, if New England wins and if they go on to win the Super Bowl, it'll always come back to, oh, well, Bo Nix was hurt, right? Kind of like when the Niners and the Eagles played a couple years ago now, and Brock Purdy got hurt, and then they got blown out, and then, they were like, oh, well, we didn't have Brock. I feel like that is what's going to happen here for New England if they end up winning, which is fine. It's understandable. I get it. Your starting quarterback's out. You want to be at full health, and you want to have the optimal chance against a team like New England. So I definitely get it. But at the same time, a win is a win. You have to play what's in front of you. That's what's in front of New England right now. So it'll be interesting to see. It genuinely depends all on if Jarrett Stidham comes out looking like 2017 Nick Foles. because if he does, it's over. It's wraps, right? Sean Payton obviously has the utmost confidence in this guy, but he's his coach, right? He's not going to throw him under the bus and publicly say stuff that negatively affects his team or his quarterback. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting. It's either going to be a super lopsided game, New England winning, or it's actually going to be a good game if Jarrett Stidham comes out and shows, what everybody's been saying about him. So, and I think if you're New England, you got to repeat what you kind of did against Houston. Keep the defense on their toes. Don't get too settled into the game with just doing one thing or the other. I think you got to keep working off of play action. Keep feeding Ramondre and Travion. I think they got away from Travion a little too fast for my liking in the Houston game, but I think just overall just stick to your roots if you're New England. Stick to what's been working. They've been winning games, and I mean if you're New England's defense, dude, you want to make Jarrett Stidham's life hell. But I don't know if they're gonna dominate the line of scrimmage like they did against Houston and LA because Denver's offensive line is significantly better than both of them. So we'll see how the pass rush does. If whether it's 4-man fronts, 3-man fronts, nickel blitzes, whether it's 5-man fronts, they're loading the box. So we'll see how that overall goes because I think you're gonna want to pressure Jarrett Stidham. He hasn't started a game all year. He doesn't really have much experience as a starter other than meaningless games. So you want to do things that'll get into his head and to get him off of his game early. So we'll be seeing how New England handles that. It'll be interesting. I hope they win. Obviously, Patriots fan, if you guys didn't know, but it'll be a fun one. I don't think this is the best game though. Like I said, I think it's Seahawks Rams, but this will still be a good one. No matter what though, whatever the Super Bowl ends up being, it's gonna be an amazing game. Yeah, it sucks that Bo Nix is out for the year and with a broken ankle, but I think whatever the Super Bowl ends up being, whether that's Pats Rams 3, Pats Seahawks rematch, which I would honestly love to see that one, or Broncos Seahawks, Broncos Rams, whatever it is, I think we're in for a real good Super Bowl. So that's all I really got for you guys. Like I said, if this video performs well, I'll do more laid back content like this, like these podcast style videos. So we'll see how it performs. It's all on you guys. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe, share it to your grandma. Maybe she's a Rams fan. I don't know. And yeah.